That's fucking fitting. Welcome back, everyone, to the PYRESWAP show, and we are, I guess, we're just more than ever now. We're more excited and we're more developed and we're just more. I don't know how to describe it, but yes, we have more things going on, and I know that you guys have probably had an amazing couple days that we dropped off there, but I'm back with like a full show of content to just really just shovel down your throat today, and I know you guys are excited to hear that. So first of all, did you guys like that little intro bumper? We have some random clips of content that we're thinking about just turning into intro and outro bumpers, and I think that it adds a little bit of novelty and a little bit of uniqueness. So if we have them and we have them available, we might just start threading those in. Granted, the goal is to make the show a lot more segmented soon as well, meaning that the stuff is a bit more planned out, and making sure that the show that you guys are watching is just value packed for you guys. Does that make sense? So I want to talk about what we have going on today, and I want to talk about the progress of things, and I want to talk about where the project is at. Do you guys want to know where the project is at? Like where it's at? And of course, thank you to everybody tuning in on these other platforms. Legitimately, I want to explain to you guys some numbers about where the product is at, because what we actually have done in December, is actually monumental, and I don't think you guys are on the same exact page as I am, because I don't think marketing is something that is really well understood by anybody in Web3. And I think when people think about marketing in Web3, they think about a promotional event. Now, a promotional event can be part of a marketing strategy, but it's not a marketing strategy. A promotional event is also not a customer acquisition strategy. Does that make sense? As of December 6th, when we actually deployed how to tell when to sell for the first time, we now have a marketing strategy. We now have a customer acquisition strategy. And how to tell when to sell doesn't really complete the conversion. Does that make sense? How to tell when to sell was the proof of a concept, and that concept was that you could use a Russell Brunson style funnel to get people to take a sequence of actions from a Web3 prompt. Do you guys know that we've almost never converted anything off of Twitter before? Like we've never been able to do shit on Twitter. Do you guys understand that? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to sound dismal, but like our performance on Twitter in the past was like so abominable. How to tell when to sell completely changes what the future looks like. I'm going to give you guys two numbers. And I'm going to ask you to guess what you think they mean. Does anybody have a guess? Okay. This is how many people joined the Discord. Good years. Indeed, indeed. I'm going to tell you guys something a bit dismal, but something a bit inspirational, because this is what people aren't looking at. This is the stuff that Five looks at, but this is not the stuff that you guys look at. Thanks, Alessio. That's just me finally getting my dream of a Christmas tree. And by the way, I'm in like some hotel lobby there, but thank you so much, Alessio. Alessio, you might not know this, but also I want you to know that you've been a big contributor to this. And I want you to really look at these two numbers, because you have probably been a pillar of one of these numbers. 97 is the amount of people who joined Discord people who joined PYRESWAP's Discord between what dates? Do you guys know? Nope, Alessio, nope. Lol caps. No, I appreciate how excited you are, okay? People who joined Discord, 97. Okay, that was between May 15th and June 15th. Alessio, do you remember what May 15th to June 15th was? That was the pre-Genesis marketing month. Yeah, exactly. The pre-Genesis marketing month. Yeah. Okay, but do you know what 74 is, Alessio? Yeah, Alessio, you might not realize because our total Discord population's only gone up by like 23 or 22 as a net, but 74 people have joined our Discord. From the join log, by the way, I counted these yesterday. I counted these two numbers yesterday between December 6th and December 29th. So what you guys don't realize is that the marketing month and this month of December were literally almost in parallel in Discord joinings. Does that make sense? This is only 3 weeks right here. This is like 3 weeks and you got 74. And this is 4 weeks and it's 97. Do you guys see that's proportional? Do you guys see that? Okay. And legitimately, what I want you to understand is that this 97, it costed me over 16 hours of airtime. It costed the project $25,000 or more in token. Does that make sense? It also, you know how much we got in the month of May 15th to June 15th? Do you know how many mentions? I want you to know we got about 45,000 views on YouTube, right? 45,000 views on YouTube. And then we had 130,000 Twitter Space views. Does that make sense? So this number right here, we got 170,000, something like that. Does that make sense? I rounded it down to 170,000 mentions. So out of 170,000 like mentions, 97 people joined Discord over it. Does that make sense? By the way, that is abysmal. That is abysmal, okay? That is literally almost, I'm gonna start erasing this. $97 out of like 170,000. This is almost like 1/2000. Does that make sense? This is like as a percentage, it's like 0.000 and then like 6. 5.7. Thank you. So it's like, do you guys understand? Correct. Now, do you want to know how many total like views we have in December? We got about 200. It's actually less than 200. It's actually 145. And do you know what videos I'm looking at here? I'm only looking at 3 YouTube videos. How to tell when to sell blue, how to tell when to sell red, and how to tell when to sell yellow. Those 3 videos total 145 views, but 74 joins. Do you guys understand this? So legitimately, had we continued to just be throwing oatmeal like we were doing in May and June, like I would probably be homeless and this project would be sunk. Does that make sense? In December, we have literally got similar results with so much less. I'm not joking. Like I can prove this to you. And Alessio, you know what? Since I know you want proof, I'm gonna give you personally access to the join and leave log in the PYRESWAP Discord server. And you yourself can count them. You can count the joins. It doesn't track the leaves, so we don't actually know what the retention is on this 97. Yeah, we don't know what the retention is on 74 either. Does that make sense? We only have these 2 numbers. But why do we care so much about our Discord joins? And let's be honest, oh, by the way, 74 out of 145, this is actually like 51%. So what I'm saying here is we went from 1 out of 2,000 to 1 out of 2. Do you guys understand what it takes to go from 1 out of 2,000 to 1 out of 2? I'm going to give you guys a multiplier here. Yeah, this right here is 1,000x. This is 100,000x?
1,000x would be 10 times that.
To go from 1/2000th to 1/2? Wouldn't this be like... in a percentage? Sorry, I'm getting math quizzes. Okay, anyways, do you guys understand it's an incredibly high multiplier in output? Do you guys see this? Do you guys comprehend what I'm saying here? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like I know that it's so subtle. I know that you guys are like looking like you guys are waiting for some explosive green candlestick. I know you guys are. But the fact of the matter is that how do I build the precursor to that stuff, right? And the fact of the matter is we got 1,000 times better at marketing in less than 6 months. Does that make sense to you guys? 1,000 times better. Yeah. You don't believe that we got 1,000 times better. But I want you to know to get the exact same results, it took 1,000 times more work. Do you guys understand? By the way, 16 hours of airtime on for how to tell when to sell. We shot all of that in probably 45 minutes tops. Does that make sense? And it literally, like, the total airtime to you guys is 20 minutes, right? Because it's like 3 11-minute videos and then like a 2-minute segment that's unique. So it's like maybe 17 minutes. Do you guys get what I'm saying? 16 hours and 170,000 on plenty of YouTubes and plenty of Twitters. This one, 145, and we've got 74 joins. Yeah, I know, Alessio, only 22 of them are like remaining, but the fact of the matter is, we don't know if these people are remaining either. We don't know what the retention is. And the most important part of why we're counting from Discord is because I'm just going to say it. If people aren't in our Discord, they don't understand this project. Would you guys agree? Right? Even people in our Discord don't. But if they're not in our Discord, I would say there's a less than 1% chance they really grasp it in any capacity. Do you guys agree with this assumption? Right? If they're in our Discord, they might at least grasp 25%. Right? But if they're not in our Discord, forget about it. Do I hear any disagreement? That's an assumption, by the way. It's an assumption. I don't know. But this is also why people joining our Discord, yeah, so like that's what I mean. People joining our Discord is essential for our marketing metrics. To be clear, again, 1,000 times better. Other metrics are like 30 times better, but again, everything is between 30x and 1,000x. And apparently, someone else is saying that some things are 100,000x.
89,185.
89,000x. There you guys go. Okay, 89,000x. That is a real math. Okay. So, anyways, I'm gonna give you guys a bit of timeline. Because I think a lot of people now think that the project is at its most dismal. Great news. The project is not at its most dismal. Since December 6th, we are literally visibly looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. Do you guys understand? So yes, Alessio, by the way, why am I crediting you? Because I know you're one of the most consistent people, along with Whisper, at pasting the how to tell when to sell link on Twitter. Make sense? Yeah. Damn. Yeah. Even, yeah. Okay. There you guys go. Yeah. 89,000%. Do you guys see it? Anyways. I know that might not be like real to you yet, but like it is since how to tell when to sell has gone live that we have an actual customer acquisition strategy. Most Web3 projects don't. And the thing is, they don't need to because there's already a meta that's created for them from a narrative. We, on the other hand, need to have a customer acquisition strategy because in order for anybody to grasp this product at all, they have to have concept familiarization ahead of time. They actually have to learn the concepts before they learn the products. Do you guys understand this? This is how this... I have read 11 books on marketing and advertising in the last 90 days or so. Do you guys know how many credit hours is a major in a college? Do you guys know? Okay. It's 30 plus credit hours for an American university. That's what it takes to be a major, right? And this is about 25% of your college, of a bachelor's degree, of a 4-year degree. Do you guys know how many books 30 hours is? It's 7 to 10 books. So I want you to know that I read 11. Yet, Alessio, I believe that number. And yeah, I will. Alessio, do you have access to that channel? The join lead channel? Yeah, do you have access to the channel that I was surveying? Because I counted 74. I might have counted between December 6th. I don't know. Yeah, we might be skipping a day or two. But yeah. Okay, if you can see the channel, Alessio, again, count May 15th to June 15th. Yeah, by all means. And I have no idea. Yeah, like I'm not even counting the ones that leave because like it's more about like, do you have any proof that you're retaining any at all? Because it's from the group that you're retaining that becomes the next phase of your funnel. And I don't want to get all concept with you guys because I want to speak stories. But anyways, Alessio, I know you like the numbers, right? I know you like the numbers. And the thing is, since the reason you're posting it on Twitter all the time is because Twitter gives you the clicks. I know, I like it too. Does that make sense? So I want you to know that like you're probably one of the key reasons that this link works so well. And the thing is, it funnels people into our Discord. Granted, after they get into our Discord, they are effectively like discarded. We do nothing for them there. But again, we've proven the concept that we can get strangers on Twitter to click 2 things in a sequence. And I know that doesn't sound important to you guys, but like we were nowhere near that before, to be clear. And I just show you those numbers about what it took to get 97 people to join Discord during our marketing month versus now when people are considering us to be in a dismal state. Okay? Now, I want to set the record straight on where we actually are as far as dismality, okay? I'm gonna explain to you guys where the hopium level actually is, all right? The point being is that now I've read the same amount of books that somebody with a marketing major with a degree would have, okay? Does that make sense? So I am not interested in kind of being a contender when it comes to Web3 marketing. I'm interested in being a dominator when it comes to Web3 marketing. My project, or should I say our project, it's not going to be able to be marketed like other projects. It has to have like a unique angle of marketing, and this angle of marketing should be designed from marketing fundamentals from guys who wrote books about marketing, not people in Web3 who are always just copying off the kid next to them. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a bit of a month-to-month breakdown of where things really were. Now, you might remember July. July was the V2, and we turned off the K, right? Now, August, this was hyperinflation. August was also a month, by the way, where I realized I did not know what the fuck I was doing with marketing. August was also a month where I really began to think about how much I wasn't getting into people's heads. Does that make sense? It was important to turn decay off because one of the main marketing mantras is that a confused prospect doesn't buy. Does that make sense? So if you add a decay variable into a token, you're just adding to the level of confusion around your product. Does that make sense? It makes more sense that the utility alone is what causes it to burn. Do you get what I'm saying? I know that this has now put the onus on marketing even higher, but like clearly I'm not quitting on that. August has hyperinflation on top of the fact that I spent a lot of time arguing and negotiating with YouTubers, and I realized I could not approach this like this. So it was actually in August we started building the list of YouTubers. Does that make sense? We're like, hey, we're gonna start building this as a list. So that way we have the ability to make a marketing system in our favor versus one in their favor, okay? September, we had that floor bounce, right? So September was where we had that floor bounce of the pricing, right? We literally turned the hyperinflation all the way down, right? So now we only have a trickle of expansion, right? And legitimately, it's because it was around this time that I realized, learning marketing, that a promo event is not a marketing strategy. In Web3, when you're the layman, you're the customer, you're the amateur, you only see promo events. But that's the final production. That does not show you what's going on backstage, allegorically. So I realized that, hey, we threw together a promo event as our marketing strategy. But really, you have to build a marketing strategy and then throw in a promo event. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Our recipe was upside down, okay? We didn't turn off Genesis, but basically we made our Genesis less prominent. August was also, do you know what else? You know what else? Yeah. Oh, Abolito, I assure you, all the numbers, and by the way, Abolito, I'm gonna tell you guys a story today. I'm gonna read you guys a story. And from this story, I'll be able to even garner more proof that we'll make it. Because this story is proving the concept of how we're going to market PYRESWAP. We've talked about PYRESWAP as an intersection of DeFi and GameFi in the past, have we not? DeFi times GameFi, right? PYRESWAP is actually also going to be now an education project. Yeah, that's its third aspect. Yeah. What do they call that? LearnFi? TFi? SCooFi? What do they call it? Do they have a name for that? EduFi? Yeah. So not MemeFi, but EduFi. Because I realized after we make, like, as we build the lore of the project, all of the lore almost is educational or entertaining. But the fact of the matter is it's very, very valuable to people to learn. Like, I'm going to tell you a story today, and most people who have read the story felt they learned quite a bit from it. So I'm going to tell you that story soon. Anyways, so August was also when I was doing the Twitter Spaces again. We sponsored AVAX Talk in August. And I want you to know that was also clearly an indication that I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Because we were literally giving away Pyre AVAX to people who were throwing together Discord accounts to come collect Pyre AVAX, dump $10 of it, and then delete their Discord. Does that make sense? Like, legitimately, we're not trying to, it's the cost of customer acquisition there is insane. Does that make sense? And they're literally going to go take that $10 and go play a meme coin with it. They clearly haven't learned what they need to learn, right? So like what we're doing there is wrong, right? I was literally not thinking about all of the details of the journey. September, again, let's see. Oh yeah, the CBJ. Okay, hang on. September kind of began this period of research. Does that make sense? I was trying to get rhymes with beats. Deets? Anyways, yeah, Beethoven X. Anyways, September was really when I started like hard charging to create our own CGAs and AGAs. Do you guys remember that? Me talking about those acronyms a lot? Because I learned from these first initial books that you need to kind of control your own marketing and not just lean on outsiders. Does that make sense? Because otherwise you're not going to actually know what good marketing is and what bad marketing is, so you can't shop for it if you don't participate in yourself. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It's okay. Like, I mean, I just did what it took to learn what it was. Make sense? October, I was focusing more on building the Twitter ambassador program, right? And in November, we got short form production finally kind of out the garage, and we also had research happening, even more research. So legitimately, it was like August was the realization that like I'm clearly missing significant aspects of this understanding, right? But the period between August to November, this was the valley of death. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know what the chart says or what the price of Bitcoin says or what your emotional state says, but it was actually here that we experienced the low point. In fact, I believe it was September 6th, right? Was that point of inflection. Again, like I said before, this project now actually has a minute, an MVP, if you will, an MVP marketing funnel. And you guys know what that's called. It's called How to Tell When to Sell. And all that does is it proves that a marketing funnel can work. It also proves that we can market by targeting a pain point. And you know what the best part of this pain point is? Meme coins are exacerbating this pain point. So how do we take advantage of the fact that we're in a meme coin season? The pain that meme coins cause. Because every day 1,000 meme coins get launched and 999 die in the first day. And that is doing us only favors by allowing us to contrast against it. Does that make sense? The group of people that feel less bullish about meme coins grows daily. Does that make sense? It's the same way as NFTs in 2021. Do you guys understand? Alessio, yeah. No, you're probably correct. I got 97, and you might be calculating... yeah, I think me and you were adding or subtracting a day. But there you go. Yeah. Yeah, Abolito, thank you so much for saying that, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to screen cap that because that's such a good little that's such a great little social proof. Yeah, here. I might just pin that. Yeah, can I pin that? Yeah. There you go. Anyways, and I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of emoji reactions too, just because that's just top notch. All right. December 6th, again, December 6th. And Alessio, you now can see the numbers yourself. The main problem, which by the way, was literally marketing. It was always marketing, right? For all of 2024, it's been marketing. Would you guys agree? But now there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We have a proof of concept that Alessio himself, Captain Skepticism, can see the numbers. So, Alessio, would you agree that in the last 3 weeks, it has not required nearly as much effort to get people to join the Discord? Like you can at least see by the numbers there? Less than 200 total media views, right? Yeah. Alessio, if you want to look up the Twitter space numbers, you can go to Five's Twitter, and if you go between May 15th and May 16th, I was retweeting the AVAX talks, so you can see the numbers of the tune-ins. Yeah, it was 130,000 total, right? One of the days was like double counted, so I picked a bigger one. But like, yeah, 130,000 total impressions, right? If you look at those numbers and how many people join it, it's fucking abysmal. And I mean to tell you guys this has bullish news, because you can see that we're replicating almost the exact same results with just a tiny website, a tiny blog website, a vlog, right? A story about Martin's week. One story about Martin's week is doing the same thing as me literally hard charging around for an entire month, right? I met the producer at fucking Consensus. I was like literally exhausted. I had to go on vacation. Yeah, in December, again, we were literally almost matching those numbers, and all it is posting a link to replies on Twitter. Do you guys understand how different that is? And that's called leverage, by the way. Like, if you can think about, like, the results from something smaller. We have a component. Okay. So, December, we have an actual customer acquisition strategy is born. Now, it's not completed yet. Do you guys understand? Our strategy is not completed yet. But now we have a blueprint for one. Does that make sense? LearnPyreswap.com is the completion of it. By the way, how to tell when to sell, later on, I will probably make it a... Instead of funneling people straight into Discord, I believe how to tell when to sell will funnel into learnpyreswap.com. Make sense? So it'll be more on that way later. That's probably more like a February thing. But anyways, I'm going to read this story now. Do you guys know about these plane crashes? Do you guys want to talk about market macros? There's some plane crashes, guys. Plane crashes. Have you guys seen the footage of the plane exploding? No? Okay, we're not going to show that. But this plane exploded. Fucking exploded. And I want you guys to know, I have my suspicions that this was a bomb on board. Because, yeah, it was in Korea. And, like, the plane looks like it's failing as far as, like, the landing gear fails. Yeah, okay. So the landing gear fails, and like the plane is like sledding on the runway. I want you guys to understand that if you were driving a car and your wheels exploded, the car wouldn't explode. Do you guys understand that? Do you guys get it? Like it's like you have spark plugs that kind of ignite the gas inside the engine, but it's like a few droplets of gas on top of the cylinder. An airplane also has hydrocarbon fuel, but it uses it to spin turbines, right? It has those turbines under the wing. And that still doesn't cause a fucking explosion. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Legitimately, it was... the guy was landing it at the right angle. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like just because he fucking fucked up his landing gear doesn't mean he was nose diving the plane. So I think, just to be a conspiracy theorist, I think that somebody ahead of time put a bomb on board and then also did something for the landing gear to fail to cover up that there was a bomb on board. That's just my tinfoil hat conspiracy. Hang on, somebody's knocking at the door right now. I'm kidding. Okay. I'm kidding. You guys, I'm kidding. These are real guns behind me. Don't worry. If someone's knocking, we'll shoot them. Okay? That's how we do business here on the PYRESWAP. Okay. Guys, stop joking around. All right? All right, anyways. I'm now going to tell you guys a story. Are you guys riveted for this story? Man, them some crazy fucking birds. Yeah. Burrow just like if you watch the video, it's like what the fuck was that? It's like that. I don't know, just watch the video. Remember my conspiracy implication, and then decide for yourself. We can talk about it tomorrow on the show if you guys want. But anyways, okay. Are you guys ready to hear a story? You know what? Before I tell the story, I know, yeah, it's just such a buzzkill. Yeah, okay. Before I tell the story, I'm gonna show you guys a little sneak peek of something. Little sneak peek right there in the G chat. Right there in the G chat. Who's that? Who's that? His name is Jorvik. Yep. Okay, guys, big debut today. I know you waited a long time for this. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's you could say it's a rehearsal. It's a rehearsal. Anyways, that individual's name is Jorvik. And Jorvik is going to be my comic relief for a lot of the production stuff in the future. And we have these I know that a lot of my audience grew up with the Muppet Show and things like Reading Rainbow and even fucking Wishbone, right? You guys remember these shows? Yeah, maybe. Anyways, I think that you guys will be so bullish when you first hear Jorvik heckle me that you guys will actually quadruple your positions in Pyre Fan. Maybe you will. But anyways, why should you be bullish on storytelling? Let me tell you the fucking story. Okay, something happened that I need to tell you. In 1970, a professor at Stanford named Walter Mischel was conducting an experiment on children. In this experiment, each child would be offered a marshmallow as an immediate reward, or 2 marshmallows if they waited for a period of time. During this time, the researcher left the child in a room with a single marshmallow for about 15 minutes and then returned. If they did not eat the first marshmallow, the reward was a second marshmallow, and the child can now eat both of them. In summary, some children waited and others didn't. Now, I know some of you might have heard this story before, and you might be thinking, I'm using it to illustrate the concept of delayed gratification. But I'm not. I'm actually telling this story to explain a concept called time preference. Later on, when we do this more high production, that word time preference will like pop up on the screen all magical like, okay? But you guys can just read it on the board, right? Is that legible? Yeah. Right. Put simply, time preference means different people have different levels of patience or urgency or impulsiveness when it comes to how long they're willing to wait for a reward. People who have a higher time preference tend to want more immediate payoffs, and people with lower time preference have the capacity to wait for it. Time preference is contextual, and no two humans have the exact same time preference because they don't have the same brain. Have you ever met someone who has the exact same taste as you, every single one? I doubt it. So if you just apply that idea to patience, you'll understand time preference. Does that make sense? Fantastic. Time preference needs to be explained because now we need to expand on it. Once upon a time, and obviously this is lore because I'm wearing the hat, there was a banker named Marashu who wore a top hat, and he did business with 2 traveling merchants in particular. Aside from business trips, all 3 of them lived in the same city most of the time. The first merchant was named Ragsdale. And Ragsdale was a younger man who wore scarlet red, and he was passionate and impulsive and energetic. The other merchant was named Bluskovich, and he was older in age. He wore azure blue, and he was calm and patient and stoic. One morning, Ragsdale came to Marashu's bank. And actually, I'll make Marashu in green, so you know he's the fucking banker. And asked for a loan. Mr. Marashu, I need 1,000 coins by this afternoon. I need to buy some goods to deliver to another city. I have a buyer lined up as soon as I arrive. The trip will only take a few days. I am departing tomorrow morning at dawn. Marashu replied, Mr. Ragsdale, if I lend you 1,000 coins this afternoon, would you be able to pay me 1,200 coins 3 months from now? And Ragsdale wholeheartedly agreed. Ragsdale's net profit on this business trip would now be reduced by about 200 coins, but it was still considered worth it to him. The interest being charged by Marashu, I guess I should start writing the numbers down. The interest being charged by Marashu was about 200 coins. Would just be an additional operating expense for Ragsdale in this context. If Ragsdale was doing this deal with his own money, he would be able to turn 1,000 coins into 1,500 coins, and he would make 500 coins as profit. But since he's taking a loan and owes 1,200 coins to Marashu, he stands to profit by 300 coins instead. Ragsdale has two scenarios to choose from. He can borrow 1,000 coins from Marashu and owe him 1,200 in 3 months' time, or he can not borrow but miss the business opportunity completely. Do you guys understand those two scenarios? He can borrow 1,000 but owe 1,200, or he can just not borrow and miss the opportunity. Two scenarios, okay? Ever the pragmatist, Ragsdale finds the first scenario agreeable and borrows the money. So Marashu tells Ragsdale to come back that afternoon. After Ragsdale left Marashu's bank that morning, a merchant named Bluskovich came to meet with Marashu at the bank. Mr. Marashu, I have been a traveling merchant for decades, and I have amassed a large supply of coins. However, my health and energy are no longer what they once were, and it makes traveling the roads much more difficult. If I deposited my coins with you, what type of incentive could you offer me? Asked Mr. Bluskovich. A good question, Mr. Bluskovich. Well, for example, right now, you could deposit 1,000 coins with me, and in 3 months' time, I could offer you 1,100 coins as repayment. Does that make sense? It says 100 coins as interest. Bluskovich found this offer quite appealing. He could now put his money to work instead of relying on his own labor and effort, since he has become older and has less energy and stamina. Bluskovich has enough money of his own, so that there's no urgency to have access to this 1,000 coins. Bluskovich has two scenarios to choose from. He can deposit 1,000 coins with Marashu and lose access to them for that time period, and waiting for the interest payment in 3 months, which would get him 100 coins in profit. Or he can keep access to his 1,000 coins and do nothing with it. Do you guys understand the two scenarios? Thank you, Maddie. Since Bluskovich is old and thinking about retirement, he picks the first scenario. So he does deposit with Marashu. He is renting access to the coins to Marashu, who is paying him 100 coins in interest to borrow them from him over a 3-month period. Bluskovich hands Marashu a purse containing 1,000 coins, and they both sign an agreement. Bluskovich is now a depositor at the bank, but from the perspective of the bank, depositors are lenders and banks are borrowers. Bluskovich is now Marashu's lender, and Marashu is now Bluskovich's borrower. When Ragsdale returns that afternoon, Marashu signs an agreement with him and hands him 1,000 coins in a purse. Now, don't worry, a professional like Marashu wouldn't use the exact same purse Bluskovich gave him, okay? The one that he gives to Ragsdale has the bank's logo on it. Does that make sense? Okay, just to give you guys that descriptor. Marashu is now Ragsdale's lender, and Ragsdale is now Marashu's borrower. So what is everyone in this story buying, and what are they selling? Ragsdale is buying access to money he doesn't have in the present and selling a promise of repayment with interest in the future. Bluskevich is buying Marashu's Bluskevich is buying Marashu's promise of repayment in the future with interest and selling access to money he does have in the present. Marashu is buying Ragsdale's promise of repayment with interest in the future and selling his own promise of repayment with interest in the future to Bluskevich. Does that make sense? Thank you. I like to see that you're nodding, especially. Okay. By the way, this is in the language. Okay, I have to ask at least once. Does that make sense? That's actually written there. That's actually written in the text. So yes, this story does have a solid. Does that make sense? Right there, because that's going to be the part that I think that for real. If you've heard the word risk management before, that is the technical description of what Marashu is doing in this story. He is balancing the risk. He is balancing the risk between his borrowing and his lending. He's balancing the risk. Do you guys know a secret 5 word? Does anybody know the word? Indeed. Yes, smart contract. But Maddie, more on that later. But yes, Terazu indeed. But that's literally what he's doing. He's balancing the risk, right? And AMM would be doing this as well, but you don't have to think, in this, I just want you to think about borrowing and lending, because AMM is all present, is all really present time, and just kind of like doing dynamic pricing. But yes, exactly. So it is always the concept of Terazu is always there. But that's more like an Easter egg in this story. I'm not actually explaining Terazu in this story. Okay, so, and since both borrowing and lending involve time, the present and the future, they are speculative in their nature because predicting the future is difficult and not easy. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Now, there are a few concepts to go over here. You probably notice that Ragsdale and Bluskevich had 2 different time preferences. Did you guys notice that? 2 different time preferences. This is the only feedback. Yes, thank you. Okay. These 2 guys have 2 different time preferences. Yes, Maddie. But the fact of the matter is, when do they want the reward? Yes, but when do they? Yeah, when is the reward for them? Because Bluskevich is waiting 3 months for his reward, and Ragsdale wants the money now. Exactly. Make sense? Okay. However, Maddie, you need to consider that Marashu also has his own time preference. Okay? So I want you to imagine this. Imagine this, by the way, because I'm glad that you brought up that they both agreed on the same time. Guess what? Imagine if Marashu shortened the period of his agreement with Ragsdale to 2 months. Slow down.
Your brain is not slow down.
Okay. When we do this high production, it'll all be, not on the whiteboard, but, So imagine if Marashu agreed for the terms of the borrowing and lending that Ragsdale has to pay him back in 2 months, but imagine if he negotiated to Bluskevich that he would have 4 months to pay him back. Okay? Now, what does this change? This means that if Ragsdale pays Marashu back, but Marashu still has more time before he needs to repay Bluskevich, he can lend out Bluskovich's money multiple times while it's under his control. Does that make sense? Marashu can lend to Ragsdale twice should Ragsdale need 2 loans in 4 months. Does that make sense? Thank you. So, but the fact of the matter is, if both of the merchants still find the terms of this agreeable, it can still be a win, win, win. Does that make sense? If they both agree to it, it's still a win-win-win. Do you guys see how they all can win? Okay. What I am describing here, by the way, is the business model of all banks. This is what a bank does, okay? For a bank, the difference between the interest payments owed from them to depositors and the interest payments owed to them from borrowers is called net interest income. I'm not going to write the whole word out, but you'll often see it abbreviated as NII, net interest income. Making sense still? Okay. In this story, with both agreements being 3 months, the NII from Marashu's bank is 100 coins. Does that make sense? If Marashu managed to lend money to Ragsdale twice, while in the same period of time only borrowing from Bluskovich once, his bank would have a 200 coin NII, having made 100 coins from Ragsdale as interest, but twice. Following. Anybody lost? Give sense.
What?
Do you mean make sense? Okay.
Makes sense for nowadays.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to interpret Maddie here. I would like to know if anybody gets lost because I'm trying to turn this story into something. Well, I guess Maddie, I don't think you realize that is all. Okay. We have okay, Maddie, we have deeper to go. Okay, you're gonna like this story. Okay, you're gonna like this story. Yeah. And by the way, what you're describing is still. Yeah, what we're describing is that. Yeah, actually, and I'll explain that as we go down into another concept here. Okay, does everyone understand NII? Fantastic. If Marashu managed to do that, okay. Now let's revisit. My apologies. I'm just so excited to do the PYRESWAP show today, you guys. Are you guys heart pounding as well? Or is it just me on too much pre-workout? I'm kidding. Okay. Let's revisit Marashu's deal with Bluskovich. Okay? As you might recall, Bluskovich was depositing 1,000 coins with Marashu and being promised 1,100 coins as repayment in 3 months' time, right? And what did Bluskovich leave the bank with that morning after handing over the purse? Does anyone remember? When Bluskovich left the bank, did he have anything with him? What did Marashu give to Bluskovich? It's almost like you heard the story before. He had a signed agreement. Do you guys remember that part? A signed agreement. A contract, if you will. Indeed. And Maddie, do you know what the name of this? Do you know what the name of this? The technical name of this agreement is? It is called a bond. That is what a bond is. Okay? Back to the story. So after that day where the two merchants both left the bank, 1 month passes. One month has passed. What's the term of the loans? Three months. We're go back to the default. Yeah, 3 months. They're both 3 months, Maddie. Yeah. We just jumped into a hypothetical with the 2 and 4. And by the way, I'm glad you said that because I'm trying to make it sure that we don't make this story too confusing. Okay? A month has now passed. One day, Bluskovic receives a letter that says his beloved brother has died from dysentery during a business trip, and his body is being returned to the city by wagon. Bluskovic is devastated. Bluskovic's brother's widow has scheduled the funeral to be held within a week after Bluskovic's brother's body arrives. Bluskovic loves his brother, and his brother's widow needs money to cover the costs of the grave and burial. Bluskovic checks his accounts. Damn, he needs a few hundred extra coins to cover this funeral. He remembers the bond he has with Marashu. He brings the agreement to the bank and meets with Marashu. But Marashu insists that he is not able to pay early, nor is he required to, per the terms of the agreement. Now, Bluskovic is disappointed and disheartened to learn this, which Marashu observes from body language. Mr. Bluskovic, Marashu begins to say, it may not be the good news you were looking for, but that bond you have is in fact transferable. Bluskovic raises an eyebrow inquisitively. What I mean to say is, if you can find someone willing, they can buy that agreement from you, cash you out today, and I will owe the repayment to them instead of you later. Suddenly, Bluskovic jumps to his feet with an eagerness. A solution has appeared in his mind. Oh, in that case, Mr. Marashu, I know exactly what to do. Bluskovic sprints out of the bank and goes to visit a friend of his named Dell, whose office is nearby. Dell, you're just the guy I'm looking for, Bluskovic exclaims as he enters the office. Dell's curiosity is piqued by Bluskovic's exclamation. I have a bond here from Marashu that pays out 1,100 coins in 2 months' time. 2 months, you say? Dell inspects the agreement. He has done business with Marashu in the past and does consider Marashu to be reputable and professional. And you're here to sell it to me, Bluskovic? Exactly, replies Bluskovic, waiting to hear what Dell will say next. Dell squints his eyes for a moment and thinks. For this bond, Bluskovic, I can offer you 1,025 coins, says Dell finally. Bluskovic accepts, and they record the transfer of the bond from Bluskovic to Dell. Dell pulls out a purse and counts out 1,025 coins, which he then hands to Bluskovic. Can you see this, Maddie? Okay. Dell now has possession of the bond, and this is called being the bond bearer. If you've ever heard of bearer bonds, they are bonds that specifically, like, whoever holds the bonds has the rights. Other bonds aren't like this, but that's not here nor there. Dell is now the bond bearer. So Bluskovic leaves Dell's office with 1,025 coins, which he then brings to his brother's widow for the funeral expenses. So again, since this part of the story takes place a month after the first day, and the repayment agreement's 3-month term has only 2 months remaining, the bond is still 2 months away from its maturity date. So if you've ever heard maturity date, that's what that means. So in this scenario, what is everyone buying and what are they selling? Bluskovic is now selling Marashu's promise of future repayment to Dell. And Dell is selling present moment access to capital to Bluskovic so he can help cover the funeral. They are both buying and selling each other money, but in different forms. You can think of one as present money and the other as future money. And because of the remaining, it is money. Currency would be like present money only. Yeah, so it is, money is the broader term. Never mind. Okay. All right. And because of the remaining 2 months in the agreement, there's still 2 months, the bond doesn't sell for its face value of 1,100 coins, right? Because Dell only bought it for 1,025 coins. Now, the reason Dell offered 1,025 and at the full 1,100 is called time discounting. Which brings us back to time preference. Do you guys remember time preference? Fantastic, Odin, thank you. The time value of money refers to the general perception among humans that it is preferable to receive a sum of money in the present moment rather than that same identical sum in the future. We're talking about human brains and how they work. You can think of the time value of money as a manifestation of time preference. And time discounting is kind of like the opposite of interest. Does that make sense? Time discounting is the opposite of interest. Does that make sense? Okay. Time discounting is what reduces the present moment value of a future payout, like when Bluskovic sold the bonds to Dell, because Dell was buying it for 1,025 for a future 1,100 coin payment. And interest is what increases the future payout amount of a present moment loan, like when Marashu loaned the 1,000 coins to Ragsdale. Does that make sense? Right? So here we have time discounting, and then here we have interest. This makes sense? Okay. By the way, like all of you providing feedback in the chat right now, you guys are literally saving DeFi. And I know this might not seem like you're saving DeFi, but this was not obvious to me that I could teach this way. Because I want you to know that non-financial people, like non-economics people, are like, wow, I learned so much from this. And I'm like, I don't know if you realize, I'm literally like teaching an entire finance concept from like a very high-level textbook, like every 200, 300 words. So like this story is in fact jam-packed with education. And more often than not, it seems like people are holding their attention. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you realize how powerful these small like epiphanies for me are. And I hope my energy and my excitement is transferring through you, because I did not realize that this is what I was supposed to be doing 6 months ago. Do you guys know what I mean? Or a year ago, or 2 years ago. Like this was literally like God wanted me to wait until I was exactly like ready. I don't want to like literally like shake the room wherever you're in, but like I get goosebumps when I'm able to describe this stuff. And as long as I put it in a story, everybody's brain's like, yep. And it's crazy because I've not been able to do this before. Do you guys get what I'm saying? This is like, I don't want to, disrespect how, the experience of blind people, but to me, this probably feels like when a blind person gets eyes donated to them. Like I cannot, my brain is not linear. I go on tangents all over the place. So the fact that I have to force myself to talk in a storyline, and this becomes like a storyline becomes like a universal file type that everybody's brain accepts. Isn't that crazy? Like everybody's brains are so different, and I'm still blown away by it. But as long as you can make the information a storyline, all brains accept it. Whether it's Linux, Microsoft, Apple, like they all accept the storyline file type. And that is an allegory about storylines, which I hope you guys appreciate. Okay. Bluskevich, by the way, okay. So now why did Dell pay $1,025 for Bluskevich's bond instead of $1,000? Because since a month had gone by, it was closer to its maturity date, and it receives less of a time discount, because 2 months in the future is not as far as 3 months in the future. Does that make sense? It makes sense. Okay, I again, sometimes I don't understand, people don't understand, but I know that now in story form, you guys have probably gotten like 3 weeks of like a finance class in 15 minutes. I'm not even joking. I don't know if you guys realize this.
We also want it, like the way that Maddie responded to you, and he was like, wait, just go back to the story. I want to keep hearing the story.
Because do you guys, like, I don't know if you guys realize, like you probably got 3 weeks of finance in 15 minutes so far. Bluskevich was able to make a profit of 25 coins too. So he was still able to profit on his bond by liquidating his bond, right? So that's the end of the story. And I now need to get lots of feedback. And I need to ask you all, really ask you all, like, do you feel like you learned anything from this story? And if so, what did you learn? Like, I want, like, if you could give me a real specific answer, like whether it was a vocab word, or if it was a concept, or like the way banks work. Yeah, like anybody, I have no idea who my audience is today. Okay, yeah, everybody here, legitimately, yeah. I know you're probably driving right now, but if you could just pick up your phone and just say yes. Okay, if you're driving, don't do it. But yes, I really do want to know. Jeff, I would expect no less for a friend as loyal as you, sir. Okay, but okay, hat is now officially off. We're leaving the lore world. We're coming back to just good old Discord. Okay. I don't mean to like break the moment, but yeah, now the hat's off. We're all just human beings again. There's no magic. Okay. We're no longer in a medieval mercantile village. Okay. Jeff, do you feel that you learned anything from me delivering the story this way? Easier than reading. Okay, see, I've also learned that I need to make my content multiform, which is, by the way, you know, how to tell when to sell, we have both the text and the video, because that's me just like, I'm just gonna shut up and follow instructions. Because in the past, I was like, just read the docs, you know? And it was, that was literally probably making our user base be 10% as big as we could have had it for the same. Like, had I made videos for like every single concept in the docs, lessons learned hard, right? By the way, a lesson learned hard is a lesson learned well. So I want you guys to know, I will definitely be the best marketer in Web3, okay? To be clear. Yeah. I will be crashing planes, and when the fucking thing explodes, it'll say PYRESWAP. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Holy shit, guys. Everybody sit down. I'm joking. I'm joking. That was too soon. Too soon? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Too soon. Thank you, Alessio. I appreciate that joke about the bots. I know exactly what you're referencing. Okay, but Alessio and Maddie, do you believe you learned anything? Alessio, do you feel like you learned anything? Odin, do you feel like you learned anything? I really need to know. I need to know. Like this is you are the focus group that literally helps me save DeFi. I don't want to sound pretentious, but at least it helps me fix the marketing problem for PYRESWAP, okay? I know that maybe not everybody believes in my heroic nature to that extent, but we need to save the Phantom Opera, okay? Thank you, Odin. Maddie, and again, these stories will be recorded, and I'll be in a wizard outfit talking to Jorvik on the chairs there. And by the way, we will have the green screen, and the green screen will be like a picture book. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I don't. Okay, you do know. Maddie says he knows what I mean. Okay, you remember like, you know, reading Rainbow and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna read out of a tome as a wizard, and we're gonna put pictures of the story on the screen, so you guys are fully engaged with the fact that I'm low-key feeding you a finance textbook spoon by spoon. But yeah. Odin, okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. VR headset ready, Jeff? No. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're not there yet. Okay. Yeah, maybe in phase 7. Yeah. But yeah, no, the green screen is so for it being video content, Jeff. It's not just me talking to the camera. Rather, it's me talking, but then also having images of the characters, images of what's happening. Makes sense? In fact, do you guys want to see one? Here, I'll do a little reveal right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably not shitting an actual brick. But there you guys see. Do you guys see it? Bluskovic is receiving the letter, learning about his brother's untimely death. You guys see it? Yep, I know. Isn't AI generated art fucking groundbreaking? But the point being is that legitimately you understand that it adds another level of dysentery can be a bitch, yes, and that was absolutely a small like Oregon Trail joke, but because they're all traveling merchants in this story. But yeah, legitimately, it's all about like enriching the edutainment. Yep, yeah, Jeff understands. Jeff got the reference. Okay. Well, anyways, we're about an hour and 10 minutes, and you know, by the way, fear and greed are pretty neutral today. I'm not even going to talk about the markets, okay? We can talk about that tomorrow. Do you guys have any questions? And yeah, you guys all agree that story helped illuminate a lot of things? Because I want you to understand, in that story, what do we do? Let's count. Oh shit, am I off? Did I get dropped? Oh, it's a camera. Okay. What do we have? We had time preference. Then we had net interest income. Then we had bonds. Then we had bond bearers. Just video? I have no idea, Alessio. Yeah. Yeah, Alessio, I'm so laser focused on PYRESWAP, you guys would think I'm a crazy person. Okay? Yeah. Ooh, Maddie believes in a strong line of support at 80K. Okay. Bond bearers, time value of money. Then we did time discounting. Then we did risk management. Time preference, net interest income, bonds, bond bearers, time value of money, time discounting, risk management. What else is in that shit? Hang on. Oh, maturity date. Yeah, okay. Oh, transferable bonds, which is, I guess that's not that crazy. Dysentery, I'm kidding. We did not explain dysentery at all. Okay, now I'm going to end the PYRESWAP show here now, but believe it or not, this entire story is important because I'm explaining why certain things about my approach to marketing are focused on details that other people don't look at. And like that involves, like I said before, having a bunch of users that could even be small bags versus one large user with a large bag. You guys have heard me talk about this preference, right? And the reason being for that is because, Maddie, what's even more valuable before, instead of creating the hype and the explosion, we need to create the pre-hype and the pre-explosion. Does that make sense? Before we begin boiling the pot, I need to start seeing smaller bubbles on the side of the pot, allegorically. And the reason I'm explaining that is because, oh yeah, we talked about the bank's business model too, but that was like 10 concepts. You guys got 10 finance concepts jammed into your nostrils in like under 20 minutes. Do you guys see that? Like, so I want you to understand, the shit we're doing here might be way more legendary than realized because some people have to read an entire Ayn Rand novel just to understand regulatory capture, like one concept. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, you have to read like 400 pages of Ayn Rand to figure out what regulatory capture is. Like, it's like, oh, okay, thanks. Like, I didn't need to. Anyways, I'm not gonna fucking trash Ayn Rand on here. But the point being is, what a bank's business model ends up being, if you can understand the relationship Marashu had with Ragsdale and then the relationship he had with Bluskovic, you might be wondering, what is it about Marashu that gives him that income in the first place? Right? Like, why is Marashu just a better negotiator? Like, why does Marashu get to only pay 100 out, but he gets to charge for 200? And that is called credit. Does that make sense? Because, well, it's not just the organization and the sophistication of his business model is what allows him to be credit worthy because he's organized. Does that make sense? Also, Maddie, because he does what he says he will do, which is also related to the channeler's job, which by the way, I will be, one of the later videos in learnpyreswap.com will illuminate a lot about the team focused stuff, because I want you guys to understand something. I learned that even people in the circus who should know the shit out of this project still only know about half of it in like concepts. Do you guys know that? So that's I used to think that was okay. And then like eventually they'll all figure it out. But like no, it's my job to get way more people like above 80% on the concept. Does that make sense? And now I can do that with stories. Okay? Exactly, Jeff. Yeah. But like his credit is derived from his organization, and that is how, by the way, the GPSC becomes a decentralized credit union. But more on that later. But most importantly, How is, like, think about if Marashu had 15 different bankers or 25 bankers now working for him, and each one of these bankers has 8 different appointments every day. Does that make sense? 15 times 8 is 120, right? So imagine that they're doing 60 different borrows and lendings every day. So what you end up with is just managing that net interest income, and the way that the bank stays solvent, is by making time preference a spectrum. Does that make a lick of sense?
No.
It does not? Okay. I'm going to use an allegory here. This allegory kind of sucks, and I'm still working on it. Electronic, when learnPyreswap.com is finished. Yes, and it's not finished. Yeah. Look, the YouTube marathon, Electronic, is about funneling into learnPyreswap.com. So like learnPyreswap.com will get finished first, and we're doing this high effort, to be clear. Yeah. But Electronic, what the people in the chat proved today is that learnPyreswap.com will actually work. Does that make sense? Me getting that feedback is getting data that we can, in fact, teach concepts, lots of concepts, to people in advance, because there's a type of marketing called concept marketing where you have to explore the customer's concept of your product before you can sell it to them. An example of this, Electronic, yeah. This word is hammer. Do you guys see that it says hammer? And this word is nails. Okay? Now, would you guys agree that if a customer is unfamiliar with the concept of a hammer, it will be difficult to sell them nails? And if they're unfamiliar with the concept of nails, you cannot sell them a hammer? Do you guys understand this on a conceptual level? On an allegorical level? Okay, I got one confirmation from Jeff. Thank you. Thank you so much, because otherwise I don't get any at all. The point being is that even you guys do not understand PyreSwap. I'm not trying to be discouraging, but like the more that I learn what other people understand, it's just not satisfactory. So the point being here is that learnPyreswap.com will make everybody able to market the project. No, but I probably should. Nah, I probably should. Good deal. I'll remember that. So the point being, okay, I'll be honest. I need to add more to the story to talk about the time preference as a spectrum. Meaning, the bank has so many accounts that they have a larger variety in time preferences. Does that make sense? They just keep getting more and more different shapes of time preference, because every human brain has a different time preference profile. They're not fungible, right? While money is fungible, the investors behind them are not. The people behind them are not fungible. Make sense? Okay, I'm not going to be able to explain this concept today, so we're going to end the PyreSwap show now. Thank you so much for coming to the PyreSwap show. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.